So here's a question that might sound strange at first. What if crypto wallets are making the same mistake that killed neobanks?
That's not strange at all. It's actually happening right now.
I mean, neobanks seemed like they had it figured out, right? Sleek apps, no fees, millions of users. What went wrong?
76% of them are unprofitable, even with hundreds of millions of customers.
Wait, really?
Really? And now, crypto wallets are racing to copy that exact playbook. Zero fee cards, stablecoin debit products, cross border payments with no markup. All the same moves. The problem is, the neobank model was already broken in traditional finance. Once you add stablecoins into the mix, it gets even worse.
So we're about to watch crypto repeat a mistake that the fintech world already learned the hard way?
Unless the industry realizes that payments can't be the business. They have to be the door into something deeper. And that's what we're digging into today.
All right, let's break this down. There's an opinion piece that just came out from Jamie L. Calais at BitGet Wallet, and it's essentially a warning to the crypto industry. Don't become another neobank. Then, can you set the stage here? What made neobanks fail in the first place?
It all comes down to revenue structure. Neobanks built their entire business on card economics, specifically something called interchange fees. Every time you swipe a debit or credit card, the merchant's bank pays a small fee to the issuer. That's where neobanks made their money.
Okay, but that sounds sustainable. Millions of transactions, small fee each time, it adds up.
Except regulators deliberately made that pool shallow. In the US, the Durbin Amendment caps debit interchange at about 21 cents plus a tiny percentage. In the EU, it's even tighter, 0.2% for debit, 0.3 for credit. Those are hard ceilings.
So they were trying to build a business on revenue that was already capped by law.
Exactly. And that left them with almost no room to fund cashback programs, customer acquisition, fraud prevention, all the infrastructure you need to run a modern financial app. Some of the big names only reach profitability after years of pivoting into lending or premium services. The core payment model just didn't work.
And now crypto wallets are trying the same thing.
With one critical difference, stablecoins make it even harder.
How so?
Stablecoins settle nearly instantly on transparent rails with minimal friction. Once users realize they can send value across borders with almost no spread, they're not going to tolerate fat markups on card transactions. So crypto wallets are inheriting a model that was already struggling in fiat. But now the technology itself is eroding the few revenue streams that existed.
It's like they're using the thing that makes crypto powerful to undercut their own business model.
That's exactly what's happening. And it gets worse. These crypto card products have to maintain all the legacy compliance infrastructure, KYC, fraud monitoring, chargebacks, all the obligations that come with global card schemes. But now they're also funding on-chain infrastructure, wallet security, custody arrangements. They're not replacing costs, they're stacking blockchain overhead on top of card rail overhead.
So they have the worst of both worlds.
Correct.
Okay, but I'm sure someone listening is thinking, what about all these zero-fee crypto cards we're seeing? Aren't those doing well?
Those cards aren't evidence that payments suddenly became profitable. They're evidence that someone is betting on what happens after the first transaction.
Meaning?
Meaning, the card is a loss leader. It's not the product, it's the acquisition channel. The assumption is that once a user is comfortable spending stablecoins at the point of sale, they'll also trade, stake, allocate to real-world assets, or use embedded yield tools inside the same app. The economics are driven by those higher-value activities, not by the interchange rebate on a coffee purchase.
So the card gets you in the door, but the money is made elsewhere.
Right, and that's the only sustainable path forward. Payments have to be treated as distribution, not as the business itself.
This reminds me of how Amazon thought about Prime. Free shipping wasn't the business. It was the hook to get people into the ecosystem where they'd buy more stuff more often.
That's a good analogy. The difference is that crypto has an even broader design space. On-chain swaps, structured yield, tokenized real-world assets, curated portfolios, all of these can generate healthier fee pools than card swipes ever could.
So if I'm running a crypto wallet right now, what does this mean for me?
It means you need to stop thinking about payments as your revenue model and start thinking about them as the interface into a deeper financial stack. The wallet or card is where users first arrive, not where the business model stops.
And if you don't do that?
You end up like the neobanks, years of user growth followed by brutal margin compression and then consolidation or collapse.
Let's talk about the broader landscape for a second. The article mentions that stablecoin volumes hit $2 trillion in 2024. Traditional banks are running pilots. This isn't fringe anymore.
No, it's not. And that's what makes this moment critical. Stablecoins are creeping into retail payments, merchant acquiring, remittances. They're often undercutting traditional card fees. If crypto-native apps respond by just rebuilding the neobank model with tokens, we know how that story ends.
So what's the alternative?
Except that payments are infrastructure. Design business models around the higher value layers that programmable money enables. Use cards and stablecoins as the front door, not the entire house.
That sounds straightforward in theory, but in practice, how do you actually do that without falling into the same trap?
You need to be ruthlessly honest about unit economics. If your revenue per user is coming primarily from interchange or FX spreads, you're already in trouble. The only way out is to build products that monetize behavior beyond the transaction itself.
Like what?
Trading fees on swaps, yield fees on products, spreads on access to tokenized treasuries or real-world assets. You can even things like portfolio rebalancing tools or tax optimization services. The common thread is that all of these generate more revenue per user than a card transaction ever could.
And the card is just the thing that keeps them engaged.
Exactly. It's the daily touch point, the reason they open the app, but the business model lives in what they do once they're there.
I want to bring up something you mentioned earlier because I think it's important. You said crypto has a broader design space than traditional neobanks. Can you unpack that a little?
Sure. In traditional finance, if you want to offer yield, you're basically limited to savings accounts or money market funds. If you want to offer trading, you need brokerage infrastructure. If you want to offer credit, you need underwriting and capital reserves. All of these are separate, regulated verticals.
And in crypto?
In crypto, all of that can live in the same wallet. You can swap assets instantly, you can stake or provide liquidity to earn yield, you can access tokenized treasuries or real-world assets. You can do all of this without the friction of moving between different institutions or products.
So the integration is the advantage.
The integration is the advantage, and that's what makes the neobank comparison so frustrating. Crypto wallets have the opportunity to build something genuinely new, something that doesn't exist in traditional finance. But if they just copy the neobank playbook, they're giving up that advantage.
They're basically saying, we have this amazing new technology, let's use it to build the thing that already failed.
That's the risk.
All right, so let's say I'm convinced payments can't be the business, they have to be the distribution. What does this mean for the user experience? Because I think a lot of people love these zero-fee crypto cards precisely because they're simple. You just swipe and spend, no complexity.
And that simplicity should stay. The user doesn't need to see the business model. They just need to see value. But the app can guide them toward higher value activities without making it feel like a bait and switch.
How?
Think about it like this. You use the card to buy coffee. The app shows you a notification. You just spent $5. Did you know you could earn 4% yield on your stablecoin? Or you have $100 sitting idle. Want to allocate it to a tokenized treasury fund? It's not pushy, it's contextual. It meets the user where they are.
So it's about making the higher value products feel like a natural extension of what they're already doing.
Exactly. And if you do that well, you're not just a payment app, you're a financial operating system.
All right, I want to zoom out for a second. What does this all mean for the broader crypto narrative? Because there's this idea that crypto is going to replace traditional finance, or at least disrupt it in a major way. But if crypto wallets are just copying broken models from fintech, what does that say about the whole project?
It says we're at an inflection point. The technology is ready, the infrastructure is ready. Stablecoins work, on-chain settlement works. The question is whether the industry has the discipline to build sustainable business models around that technology, or whether it just chases user growth and worries about monetization later.
And if it's the latter?
Then we'll see a wave of consolidation. The well-funded players will survive, the others will burn through capital and shut down, and the narrative will shift from crypto is revolutionizing finance to crypto had promise but couldn't find product-market fit.
That's bleak.
It's realistic. But it's also avoidable. The roadmap is clear. Treat payments as distribution. Build higher value products on top. Be honest about unit economics. Don't overpromise and underdeliver.
And if the industry does that?
Then crypto actually becomes what people say it will be, a genuinely better financial system. One where payments are seamless, assets are composable, and users have access to products that were previously only available to institutions.
So it's not inevitable that crypto wallets fail. It's just that they have to make different choices than neobanks did.
That's right. The failure of neobanks is a lesson, not a destiny.
All right, let's talk about where this could go next. What should people be watching for? What are the signals that a crypto wallet is doing this right versus doing this wrong?
The clearest signal is revenue mix. If a wallet or platform is growing users, but revenue is still coming primarily from interchange or spreads, that's a red flag. If they're diversifying into on-chain products and fee structures, that's a green flag.
What about user behavior? Is there something we can observe there?
Absolutely. Look at engagement beyond transactions. Are users just swiping the card, or are they actively using swaps, yield products, portfolio tools? If the latter, that's a sign the business model might actually work.
And if it's the former?
Then they're just a neobank with stablecoins, and we know how that story ends.
You mentioned earlier that some traditional banks are experimenting with stablecoins. Does that change the competitive landscape?
It does. If incumbent banks start offering stablecoin-based payments with their existing customer bases and regulatory frameworks, crypto-native wallets lose one of their main advantages: speed to market. Suddenly, the competition isn't just other crypto wallets, it's JP Morgan and Bank of America.
So the window to build a sustainable model might be narrower than people think.
Exactly. This isn't a 10-year runway. It's a 2 to 3 year window to prove that crypto wallets can offer something banks can't.
And what is that thing? What's the thing banks can't offer?
True composability. Banks can offer stablecoin payments. They can even offer trading or yield products, but they can't offer all of that in a single permissionless programmable environment. That's crypto's edge, but only if the industry builds for it.
So the opportunity is still there, but it requires discipline.
Correct.
Before we wrap, I want to touch on something that might seem tangential, but I think is actually connected. A lot of people in crypto talk about decentralization, censorship resistance, self-custody, all these values. But if the business model depends on card rails and regulatory compliance, how much of that is actually achievable?
That's the tension, and it's real. The more you integrate with traditional payment infrastructure, the more you inherit its constraints. Card networks can freeze accounts. Regulators can impose rules. You're not operating in a purely decentralized environment.
So is there a path to true decentralization while still making payments work?
Yes, but it's not through cards. It's through merchant adoption of direct stablecoin payments. If merchants start accepting USDC or other stablecoins natively, you cut out the card rails entirely. That's the long-term vision, but it requires network effects we don't have yet.
So in the meantime, cards are a necessary bridge.
They're a necessary bridge, but they shouldn't be mistaken for the destination.
That's a good way to put it. All right, let's bring this home. If there's one takeaway for listeners, what should it be?
Crypto doesn't need another generation of thin-margin digital banks. It needs wallets and platforms where payments, assets, and on-chain finance reinforce one another. Cards and stablecoins are the front door, but the value is in what happens once you're inside.
And if the industry gets that wrong?
Then we'll spend the next few years watching crypto wallets repeat the mistakes of neobanks. But if we get it right, we actually built something that traditional finance can't replicate.
That's the choice.
That's the choice.
All right, if you're building in this space, pay attention. If you're using these products, watch how they evolve. And if you're just trying to understand where crypto is headed, remember, the business model matters as much as the technology.
Maybe more.
Thanks for tuning in to Infinite State. We'll see you next time.